Hello, busy corporate man. This is Gregory, your Flex Fitness buddy, and today we are talking about making a healthy meal plan so that you can plan your meals for the week. And before we get started, I just want to take you through some of the benefits of having a meal plan. And the first one is you are able to eat a healthy meal and follow a healthy diet. And this is mainly because you are preparing your own meal plan. You are deciding what you want to eat and what you don't want to eat. You can choose what macronutrients to add to your food and what macronutrients not to add to your food and in what portions. So you get to decide what proteins to add, what carbohydrates to add, what vegetables to add, and you also get to decide which fat to add and not to add, and in what portions. Number two, having a meal plan for the week or for 2 weeks in advance saves you a lot of time because you can decide what food you're going to eat in advance. You can do your grocery shopping early, and that will help you plan ahead and save a lot of time when it comes to food and eating. At the same time, you can prepare your food in advance. So you can do what we call batch cooking, where you cook food for the rest of the week. You store it in small dishes and small containers. You are in a position to control your portions. So you can control how much food you cook and how much food you consume. And then having a meal plan is also critical in helping you avoid unhealthy eating habits because you get to control which foods you're going to buy and which foods you're going to stock in your kitchen, in your storage. So you are able to ensure that you're eliminating any junk food and ensuring that you're stocking your kitchen or your food store with healthy foods that you can then consume throughout the week. That you avoid wasting food in the sense that you can cook a lot of food in the evening and then you consume it for dinner. You leave some leftovers which you consume in the morning for breakfast, and then you can pack a bit of the leftovers you consume for lunch, meaning you get to cook only once. Having a meal plan is also critical for people who are on their fitness journey. So maybe you want to cut weight, maybe you want to reduce the amount of carbohydrates intake, and maybe you want to consume more proteins and more healthy fats, is you are able to flex for your family. So if you're following a strict low-carb diet, you want to prepare a meal plan that will accommodate the rest of your family who are eating the normal diet. And lastly, having a meal plan helps you ensure that you are a mindful eater. So you become very mindful of what you consume, in what portions, in what quantities, and what macronutrients you are consuming in your meals. How do you prepare a meal plan? So I'm going to work on my computer as I talk to you. Stick along with me towards the end of this video. I am going to share a template with a sample meal plan for 1 week that I follow that is customized for my needs. Stick along with me as I work to prepare a 1 week meal plan. Today, I want to show you how to prepare a 1 week low carb meal plan. So we're going to follow a low carb way of eating, and this means we are trying to restrict our consumption of carbohydrates while consuming more vegetables, more fruits, and more proteins, and try to limit our consumption of carbohydrates to less than 130 grams in a day. So we are going to call our meal plan. So let's start with a name. So the Flex Fitness Buddy low-carb meal plan. So what we want to do is in the columns decide how many meals we're going to have for the day. So in this case we're going to have breakfast, that is one meal, and then we will have lunch, and then we will have supper, or what some people call dinner. Yeah, so for every meal we are having, we are going to count the carbs that make up the food. So net carbs in grams. For breakfast consumed, and then we'll do the same for lunch, and we're also going to do the same for dinner or supper. And then in this rows we're going to put the days of the week. So because I do my planning on Sunday, so Sunday becomes the first day. Then there is Monday, there is Tuesday, there is Wednesday, then there is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday here. So what I'm going to do is just have my grid ready like that. So my grid is ready. I'm going to consume 3 meals in a day for 7 days of the week. So to be able to do this effectively, I'm using 3 key resources. The first one is my food passport. So this food passport has a nutrition analysis table that contains the nutrients in the various food components. So in the various macronutrients in food, I have an analysis of how many calories, how many fats, how many carbohydrates, how many fiber, and how many proteins are present in that meal. Yeah, I think you can see it. So apart from that, I'm also using my notebook. So in my notebook, I've done some notes. If you can see my notebook, if not, I'll share an image. So in my notebook, I've made some notes and analysis of the foods that I would like to add to my meal plan. So I'll start with Sunday, and on Sunday for breakfast, I'm going to drink white milk tea. So white tea for breakfast, and this tea is sugar free since I'm trying to avoid consumption of sugar, and then that is processed sugar. And then on Monday I'll add some sweet potatoes. This is a bit of carbohydrates to take care of my carbohydrates needs. So as much as I'm trying to go low carb, it doesn't mean I'm not going to consume carbohydrates. And then I'll add some fruits. So I'll eat a banana, and then an orange, and an apple. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is refer to the nutrients analysis in my food passport. So I'll check my food passport. White sugar has about 9 grams of carbohydrates, and then sweet potato is carbohydrates. So sweet potato, that is a starchy carb. That's about 20 grams of carbohydrates. And then a banana, which is a fruit. Banana fruit has about, I refer to it's about 17 gram carbs. And then an orange has about 8 grams. And I'm referring to my food passport, if you can see. And then an apple has about 13 grams. So when I do a tally of that, it gives me about 67 grams for breakfast. And then for lunch, I'm going to have ugali and pork chops. Ugali, that is carbohydrates. Then pork chops. So this is roasted pork. And then I'm going to add some avocado, cabbage, and carrot. So avocado, and then cabbage and carrot. So what I usually do with my cabbage and carrot is after slicing the cabbage, I'm able to grate the carrot and mix them up. So ugali has about 35 grams. Pork is pure proteins, so 0 grams. And then avocado, when I refer to my food passport, half avocado has about 2 grams of, so this is a half avocado. Avocado has about 2 grams of carbohydrates. And then the cabbage has about 4 grams. And the carrot has about, carrot has about 8 grams. So when I do my tally here for lunch, I'm getting about 49 grams of carbohydrates. And then I'll decide what I'm going to have for supper. And the interesting bit is if I cook enough supper, I can always leave some leftovers for breakfast and also some leftovers to carry for lunch. So my supper has chicken and brown rice. Then I'm adding courgette and cucumber, yeah. So chicken has 0 gram of carbohydrates. Brown rice is very high carb food. So what you want to do is eat it in small portions and in moderation. So when I check for brown rice, it has about 35 grams of carbohydrates. And then my courgettes, has about 1 gram, and my cucumber has about 1 gram. So when I do my tally here, I'm getting another 37 grams. So total net carb per day. Let's see how much this has in a day. So when I do the total tally here, I'm getting 153 grams. So that is way high than my target of 130 grams per day. So the beauty of preparing a meal plan early is you can always alter the food you want to consume in advance so that you limit the consumption of certain foods. So the biggest carbs I'm consuming is in the morning, where I'm mixing sweet potatoes and bananas. So I can easily replace my banana here, and that reduces my carb intake to 50. That brings me to 136, which is still high. So I might want to maybe just eat one fruit, which is an orange. So eliminate the apple, and that brings it to 37, 49, and 37, giving me a total of 123 net grams per day. Then I will move to the second day, which is a Monday. So Monday, I want to do some toast bread. So brown bread toast. That is where I'm using brown bread and toasting it in eggs, and then I'll consume this with my white tea that does not have sugar. So brown bread, when I refer to my food passport, brown bread has about a slice of brown bread has about 15 grams net carbs. So I will make sure I'm only eating one slice, and then my sugar. Of course, I'm doing this with the eggs, and eggs have 0 carbs. So that gives me a total of 24 grams in a day on Monday. And that's enough for breakfast. And then I want to eat lunch. So my lunch is the leftover from the previous meal that I prepared in the evening. So I will just move the meal I prepared the previous evening and use it for breakfast, for lunch. So when I was packing my cooking, I cook enough and ensure I'm leaving some leftovers for lunch. But on this day I want to add some spinach, which I can prepare in the morning, and I also want to add some managu, nagu vegetables. So both have about 1 gram of carbohydrates. So when I tally my total for the day, I'm doing 39 grams of carbohydrates on for lunch on Monday, and so 39 grams of carbohydrates for lunch on Monday. And then what about dinner on Monday? So on Monday I'm choosing to eat ugali, because I love eating ugali, my lovely meal but full of carbs. And then I'm going to eat goat meat. So ugali and goat meat. And what I'm making sure is I consume vegetables with every meal. So we saw that ugali has about 35 and goat meat has zero carbs. So my total for the day is 39, or for the dinner is 39, and when I tally my total for the day, I'm consuming 102 grams of carbohydrates. So you will notice that I'm only tracking carbohydrates intake because my meal plan is based on the low carb way of eating. So minimize my consumption of carbohydrates as I increase my consumption of vegetables, fruits, and proteins. So the reason why I want to take in a lot of fruits and proteins is because they will make me feel full for long and keep my sugar levels low, hence reducing the need for me to snack during the day or reducing the food cravings that might happen during the day. So Tuesday, for me, I'm choosing to make Tuesday a fasting day. Fasting day. So it's not really a full fast because I still need energy to work. But what I want to do is reduce my food intake on this day to as low as possible. So being a fasting day, I will take breakfast that has Greek yogurt, a great food item you can consume, has a lot of proteins that will keep you feeling good and feeling full. And then apart from the Greek yogurt, I can also take some sugar-free milk tea. So my white milk tea for the morning. And then the Greek yogurt has, I will refer to my book. So the Greek yogurt, the full fat Greek yogurt has about 5 grams of net carbs. So I'll put 5 grams there. And that's all I'll have for breakfast on Tuesday. And those are about 14 grams. Yeah. And then what I'll do, I'll take bone soup. So for lunch, I will only eat bone soup. And this I probably should have prepared it the night before, and then just ready for packing and taking. And this has 0 grams of carbohydrates, so the tally here will be 0. And then for dinner on Tuesday, I will eat fish, broccoli, cucumber, and courgette. So I'll do fish, broccoli, then I will add cucumber and courgettes. So broccoli also has about 1 gram of net carbs, and I refer to broccoli has about 3 grams net carbs. So my total here is 5 grams. So when I do my tally for the day, I'm only consuming less than 19 grams of carbohydrates. So on a fasting day like Tuesday, that's what I'm going to eat for breakfast, for lunch, and for the day. Yeah. So then I move to Wednesday. So remember, this is a low carb way of eating, and the goal here is to focus on minimizing your carb intake, tracking what carbohydrates you're consuming and pushing them to as low as possible, and then ensuring that you replace the carbs with a lot of vegetables and a lot of proteins to carry you through the day. Yeah. So on Wednesday, Wednesday for me is an easy day. So I'll start my day with scrambled eggs. Boiled eggs. And if you notice, eggs can make a very good meal because they are very rich source of proteins. And then I can do some nuts, so ground nuts. They have fat, natural fat, but also have good proteins. And then I'll do a brown toast in the morning in addition to my my sugar-free milk tea. So brown toast, and then of course my sugar-free milk tea comes here. So scrambled eggs have 0 grams of carbohydrates, and ground nuts have about 2 grams of carbohydrates. So on Wednesday I'll add some olive oil and bacon and olive oil. So these are fatty foods to take care of the fat needs. And then I can also add some mushrooms so that I'm having a very heavy breakfast but watching on the portions. So mushrooms. Mushrooms have about 2 grams of carbs. Bacon, 0 grams of carbohydrates, and the olive oil has about 0 grams of carbohydrates. And when we do our tally here, this Wednesday morning we're just doing 28 grams of carbohydrates. So what we cooked the previous night, that is fish, broccoli, courgette and cucumber, becomes what we eat for lunch. And remember, fish is full protein, so it has 0 carbs and 0 carbs. So doing fish, broccoli, cucumber, courgette, then I'm adding my vegetables. So my spinach and managu vegetables come here. Yeah. So when I do my tally, here, I'm only consuming 7 grams of proteins on that day. And then what are we having for supper on Wednesday? So on Wednesday we are going to take in some carbs. So I'll do an easy pizza and only eat 1 slice of the pizza. And I'd checked yesterday, my pizza for Wednesday only has 30 grams. So I'll put my 30 grams here. Then avocado, I'll do some half avocado to add to my meal. Green beans are a great source of proteins, plant proteins, green beans. And then I'll do asparagus and lentils. Asparagus and lentils. Lentils is also another great source of plant protein. Yeah. So when I add this up, so avocado, we saw that avocado has only about 2 grams of carbohydrates. The green beans have about 2 grams, and asparagus 2 grams, and lentils 24 grams. And lentils has 24 grams of carbohydrates. And when I do the tally here, on this day we're only doing 60 grams. So we can tally here and see how many carbs, net grams of carbs we're eating on this day. So that gives you 95 grams, which is good. It is less than the 130 which we aim to achieve in a day. So on Thursday, what are we having for Thursday? So on Thursday, we are going to do the Greek yogurt. Yeah, Greek yogurt. And then we are also going to eat a lot of fruits on Thursday. And this can be berries, apples, and oranges. Berries, apples, and oranges. So on Thursday, berries, apples, and oranges. So I've done my research here, so I'll add it here. So Greek yogurt has about 5 grams of carbohydrates. The berries have about 18 grams of carbohydrates, and the oranges have about 8 grams. And then, of course, in addition to this, I will take my tea without sugar. Yeah, so I'll add my milk tea without sugar, which is about that. So oranges have about, we saw that oranges have about 8 grams. Yeah. Apples have about 13 grams, and the berries are 18 grams. So when I do my tally for breakfast on this day, I'm consuming 53 grams. On Thursday, lunch, we will do sweet potatoes and then avocado. Sweet potatoes to take care of my protein needs, and then I'll do half avocado to take care of my fat needs, and then I will add milk. So I'll take milk, an apple, and an orange. Apple and orange. So milk means I will pack my sugar-free tea for lunch, and so potatoes we saw has about 20 grams of carbs, and then avocado has 2, my sugar-free milk tea has 9, and then an apple we saw has 13, and an orange has 8 grams. So we do a tally. For dinner on Thursday, we'll do minced goat meat. So this goat meat has 0 carbs. And then we can do brown rice to take care of my carb needs, just at about 35 grams. And I'm also going to eat avocado and my vegetables. So have avocado and at least 2 vegetables here. So I can do spinach and managu and add them here. Avocado has 2 grams. So in total I'm doing 39 grams for supper on Thursday. And when I do my tally for the day, this gives me about 144. So this 144 is too high. I need to sacrifice 1 fruit. So I'm going to remove berries from my breakfast, and that brings me to 126. So that makes sure I'm reducing my carb intake by simply reducing one food item from my plan. And then for Friday, in the morning, I'll do boiled eggs. I'll eat 4 boiled eggs. That is purely 0 carb. And then I can do some ground nuts. So ground nuts, that gives me about 2 grams. And then I'll take my tea without sugar. My tea without sugar is about 9 grams of carbs. And then finally I will add some toast. So brown bread toast, which is about 15 grams of carbohydrates. And when I do my tally, that gives me about 26 grams of carbohydrates for breakfast. And then for lunch on Friday, I will eat what I cooked the previous dinner. So when I cooked dinner the previous night, I left some leftovers that I then packed and carried as lunch to eat at work. So that still gives me 39 grams. And then what am I eating for dinner on Friday? Green beans here, which has 2 grams. And then I'll do some brown chapati and my vegetables. So brown chapati has about 24 grams. Only eat one. And then I'll do my vegetables. Yeah, broccoli, gourget, cucumber as my vegetables, and I'll add one traditional vegetable here, which is spinach. So that gives me a total of 32. So all that food has 32 grams of carbohydrates. So I'll tally this. That gives me 97 in a day. Saturday, we're going to do 4 eggs, which has 0 carbs, and then sugar-free milk tea, which has about 9 grams, and the brown bread toast, which has about 15 grams, and in total that gives me 24 grams of net carbs for breakfast on Saturday. And then what I want to do is look out what we are going to have for lunch. We are going to reuse what we ate for dinner the previous day, which is here: green beans, brown chapati, broccoli, cucumber, and some spinach. That we'll put it here, which being we use that for lunch. So pack it and carry it to eat for lunch at work. And that gives me a tally of 33 grams. This is a tally of 24 grams. And then what are we having for dinner on Saturday? So on Saturday we are doing ugali, pork chops. We're repeating a meal we ate here. Ugali has about 35 grams of net carbs. Then pork chops, and then what I'm going to do is add cabbage, avocado. So have avocado, cabbage, and carrot. Yeah, so we saw carrot has about 8 grams and cabbage has about 4 grams. Avocado is 2 grams and pork has 0 gram of carbohydrates, and that gives us a tally of 49 grams net carbs. So when I do my tally here, this summation gives me 106 grams. And that is my meal plan for the week. And you can see this meal plan is purely based on a low-carb way of eating. We have managed to keep our daily consumption of carbohydrates to less than 130 grams net grams of carbohydrates in a day, and that is what we set out to do in the first place. So base our meals on improving the protein intake while at the same time reducing your carbohydrates intake, and eating a lot of vegetables while at the same time consuming a lot of fruits, which are healthy and good for your gut health. So thank you very much for sticking with me to the end of the video. And as you have seen, the advantage of planning your meal plan in advance is you are able to control the foods you want to add to your meal and also manage your consumption of carbohydrates. So you're able to control how much carbs you'll eat, how many proteins you'll eat, and by having this meal plan, then you can easily do your shopping in advance, ensuring you maintain a healthy way of eating that takes care of the 3 macronutrients in food, that is carbohydrates, proteins, and healthy fats. So that brings me to the end of this video, and because you've followed me till the end, I will share this template that I've used for my meal planning, and hopefully it can help you in preparing your first meal plan that is based on proteins and low intake of carbohydrates. So just to finish here, so that I share with you a clean template that you can customize to your needs. That you can customize to your needs. Yeah. So subscribe to my newsletter for this and more meal plans, and hopefully you can start your healthy living journey that involves eating well and exercising and watching what you consume. So in total, if I do my tally here, it looks like these are the total carbs that you have consumed throughout the week. That's around 668 grams of carbohydrates, and if we divide this by the number of days in the week, then ideally you are consuming about 95 grams of carbohydrates every day. So you are able to maintain and follow a low carb way of eating. My name is Gregory, your Flex Fitness buddy, and thank you for sticking around with me to the end. Have a great day, and you will find this in your inbox. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and let's do this together.